we are here today because of the tragedy, the terrible crime, the murder, the cold-blooded murder of the people, the human rights activists who went on the flotilla to bring aid, basic aid, medical aid to the people in Gaza. Us as Jewish people feel it through and through because unfortunately, this is being constantly done in the name of the Jewish religion. They've kidnapped and hijacked our identity, the Star of David. They've kidnapped the name of Israel in order to perpetrate this crime. There's nothing more repugnant than what they're doing. There's no legitimizing this crime, what they're doing, and yet they're using God's name to legitimize what they're doing. So we hurt, we feel, we cry with the people of Turkey, and of course with the people of Gaza and Palestine, and the many, many years of suffering. This is just one more link in this long chain of suffering that the Zionists, this evil ideology, and its brainchild, which is the State of Israel, the culmination of this ideology, Zionism, which is totally illegitimate and has no basics in the Torah, no backing in the Torah. This criminal entity is perpetrating this crime over 60 years, well over 60 years. Every day you hear a new horrific act that they have taken, and the world is silent. The world there's a deafening silence, even though there's the human activists around the world, and they're there by every issue which they should be by Haiti, by Katrina, by every issue, by a tsunami, they're there. Why are they silent here? Because the world has bought into the fib, into the farce of Zionism, which claims that this is a religious conflict and the people of Gaza are anti-Semitic and they hate Jews. In truth, the villains is the State of Israel, and the victims, the innocent victims, are the people of Gaza and Palestine, because they simply want the right that God has given to them, their land and what is theirs, their dignity and their homes. And the villains, the true villains, is Zionism, the State of Israel, and the double abhorrence of it is that they're doing it in the name of God, and therefore the activists around the world are silent. We must, as a people created by God, we must first fervently pray to the Almighty for a speedy and peaceful dismantling of the state. At the same time, we are required, just as God is just and God is compassionate, to stand up for the people of Gaza and not be intimidated by the Zionists. We must go out there and say these are rogue thieves, and what they're doing is totally illegitimate and has no right whatsoever. We must stop immediately. We must bring basic human necessities, water, medical aid, and ultimately the freedom to the people of Gaza and Palestine. This is what God wants. This is what the Jewish religion wants. And then what will happen is, if we have a free Palestine, and when I'm saying free Palestine, I don't mean over the green line, we mean a totally free Palestine with the dismantlement of the state, then we will be able to coexist, Jews, Muslims, and Christians, as we've had for hundreds of years. And the Muslim lands and the Arab lands were the homes for the Jewish people for hundreds of years, and has always shown for the Jewish people graciousness, hospitality, and a safe haven. Till the Second World War, Jews ran away to Turkey, and even afterwards. So we are required to, even by the Torah, show gratitude for this, and yet they're being paid back bad for good. We hope, just as we've seen for hundreds of years, that we've been able to coexist without any human rights groups, without any UN, that the day will come with God's compassion, that we will see with our own eyes the end of this terrible nightmare, this monstrosity called the State of Israel, so then we can once again coexist, human beings, the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim people, and serve God. Let me tell you, I was in Gaza not more than a few months ago. We went twice. We came as a delegation from Canada, the United States, UK, and from Jerusalem. We was sent as messengers. We saw how the world, which knows of the destruction in Gaza, is deaf to their suffering, even though they've seen it. We took pictures of people living in a string with a piece of plastic over it, in the heat at night and in the freezing cold at day. no water. People were crying. We embraced them. We cried with them. These people are well over a year living like this. Sick. People are sick there. People are dying, and people are being emotionally destroyed for their lives. How could we stand by and be silent? Apartheid was ended because the grassroots stood up and they forced their politicians, they made them uneasy, and they ended apartheid. And today nobody would believe that so distinguished people, leaders of countries, had gone on the merry way and dealt with in South Africa with the apartheid state, because it's over. And the same thing in the United States. We had the Constitution, we have the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, and all nations created under God. And yet we had the blacks sitting in the back of the bus and signs in the South that said no Jews, blacks, or dogs allowed. And the signs are still there. Till around 60, 70 years ago. Who would have believed it? If I show this to my children, they wouldn't believe it. You'll see one day, God help soon in our lives, through a peaceful and speedy dismantlement, you will take your children and you will say that here existed a state called Israel, that they made walls around the Palestinians and they stole their homes, and people say that can't be. It can't be. With God's help, this should happen, as I say, sooner nowadays, a total end of the state of Israel, speedily and peacefully, and that we should be able to apologize profusely and give restitution, and God should relieve and give them back their lives for the people of Gaza and Palestine, so we can live again together and serve Him in harmony. Thank you.